Are you frustrated about your baby balding and or losing hair? Have you tried everything you know or have been recommended to do, but it still seems like nothing seems to be working? Don't worry, mamas, I've got you. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you how to avoid balding and hair loss in babies. I've also created a checklist to help you further, just so you don't forget any of the important tips I'm going to be sharing with you shortly. But you got to watch to the end of this video to find out how to get hold of this checklist. Hey guys, it's Novella from Naturally Crowned. For all your kids' natural hair tips, advice and tutorials, you're in the right place. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and if you've been a subscriber, thank you for sticking with me. Okay, so let's get started. So mums, as you know, some newborns are born with a lot of hair, some are born with no hair, some are born with fine hair, and others are born with a bit of patchy hair, but when they're born, their hormone levels actually drop, and because of this is the reason why some babies lose hair or start to bald. This is very normal, and it does happen for that reason, and there's actually a name for it. It's called it's called telogen effluvium. Now with this, it's the exact same reason why actually mums, you experience postpartum shedding. If you know what postpartum shedding is, you lose large amounts of hair after maybe like 2-3 months after your baby's born. This is the same reason why your newborn actually loses hair as well. Okay, so this part is very normal. However, there's also external reasons that make newborns lose their hair. So these external reasons could be something that you may be doing or something that your newborn may be doing. I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 tips to help you avoid balding or hair loss in babies if it's external. But if it is hormonal, I'm going to also help you to minimize the effects of balding and hair loss. So you either can minimize it if it's hormonal and avoid it completely if it's for external reasons. Okay, so these are my 10 tips to help you avoid or minimize balding or hair loss in babies. Okay, so my first tip is don't wash your baby's hair daily. Now this is really going to dry out your baby's hair, you know, just dry out their scalp, mess with their natural oils or their sebums, and you don't want to do that. Just aim for washing their hair once a week. Once a week is perfectly fine. Tip number 2, use a gentle baby shampoo. Now you want to use a shampoo that's sulfate free. If you're using sulfate shampoos on your newborn or baby's hair, it's really going to dry out your baby's hair and possibly cause breakage, and you don't want to do that. So use a shampoo that's sulfate free, catered to baby, so very mild and natural. I know some mothers wash their newborn's hair just with water only. If you're happy to do that, that's also fine. But if you're a mum who likes to use a natural sulfate free shampoo, also go for that option as well. Okay, so my third point is if your baby experiences cradle cap, which is very common for newborns up until about 2 months old, please resist the urge to scratch or peel off the flakes. You don't want to do that. That's really going to cause a lot of breakage to the hair. What you want to do instead is soak the hair, so where the cradle cap is, with oil, an oil like coconut oil, for example. You want to soak it first in oil, leave it to soak for about maybe 5 minutes, and then you want to gently use a comb, a baby comb, just to gently lift off the flakes. Now you will be able to do that very easily because it has been soaked in the oil prior to that, and then you can wash it out and you'll find that you won't experience any breakage. Actually, both of my kids experienced cradle cap and I used this method and it worked perfectly fine. Okay, so point number 4, you want to be very gentle when you're washing your baby's hair. So don't do it vigorously using your nails. I mean, even for an adult, you don't want to use your nails when you're washing your hair. Use the pads the pads of your fingers to gently massage their scalp and, you know, lift off any dirt if there is any. It's a newborn or a baby, they don't have that much dirt on their hair, but just use the pads of your fingers to just massage their scalp. This will help to stimulate blood flow and also encourage growth. Okay, so tip number 5, you want to comb your newborn or baby's hair with a comb wide enough for their hair type. Now, I'm not sure if for your newborn you received or you bought a Tommy Tippy pack that comes with the nail clippers and the baby brush and the combs. Perfect example, the comb in there, it just doesn't have wide teeth. However, for newborns, because their hair is very silky and it's just easier to comb with the Tommy Tippy comb, you're going to find that you're not going to snag any hair or cause any breakage. However, when your baby or newborn gets to the age or the stage where their hair thickens, you want to change to a wider tooth comb. So as their hair thickens, the teeth or the tooth on the comb needs to get wider. This is going to avoid any breakage when you comb or detangle your baby's hair. So you definitely want to switch to a wider tooth comb as your baby's hair thickens. Okay, so tip number 6, you want to avoid any kind of tight headbands, any kind of tight hairstyles. So don't try and pull your baby's hair all back in one. Don't try and do any tight hairstyles. Between newborn and 6 months, you really just want to leave your newborn's hair alone. Just let it do what it's going to do, and don't try and style it or do anything at this point. There's just no need, just to avoid any breakage. Their scalps are so delicate and sensitive at this stage, so you just want to keep it very, very simple. Under the age of 6 months, when they hit 6 months old, you can start to experiment with hairstyles, but at the same time, you don't want to use any tight hairbands, just like you would with a newborn, and you don't want to do any tight hairstyles or anything that's going to pull on their edges, their scalp, and cause breakage. Okay, so tip number 7, you want to moisturize often using the LO method. So at the newborn stage, they don't really require layering, so using a liquid, which is the L, and an O, which is the oil, is perfectly fine at this stage. Really, due to their hair type, is more silkier, and so you don't need too many layers. As their hair becomes drier over time, which it will, between the ages of 3 to 4 months, then you can add another layer into your baby's moisturizing routine. But for a newborn, you just want to keep it very, very simple using the liquid and oil method. So at this stage, a lot of moms make the mistake of, when they see their baby's hair silky, it's shiny, it looks moisturized, don't make the mistake of not moisturizing your newborn baby's hair at this stage, because their hair still needs moisture. Even though it looks very shiny and it looks like it's moisturized, you still want to get into the habit of moisturizing your newborn or baby's hair, just to keep it moisturized, because their hair does still need moisture. So tip number 8 is when your babies actually pull their hair. And it's very funny because my son, when he was around 2-3 months, he was actually pulling his hair himself, and he would do this whenever he was hungry or whenever he was tired. So that can also cause breakage. However, if your baby's hair is well moisturized, what's going to happen is they're going to try and pull on their hair, and their hand is actually going to glide through. That used to happen to my son. I would watch him pull his hair, but his hand will kind of slip through because it's very well moisturized. But can you imagine if his hair was very dry and brittle? The moment he holds on to that hair is coming off, baby. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are moisturizing your baby's hair. So if they do pull their hair themselves, it's most likely to glide through and there won't be any cause for breakage. Tip number 9 is your baby resting their head in the same spot day after day, and that's rubbing their hair off. So what you want to do is try and change the positions from time to time, or you want to, encourage tummy time in the daytime, obviously supervised. Okay, so my final tip number 10 is to protect your baby's hair at night. So what I encourage you to do is to use either a satin fitted sheet or a satin pillowcase, so an empty pillowcase where your baby's head rests, just so that the friction from the cotton sheets will not break your baby's hair. Now, if your baby's under the age of a year old, I wouldn't advise a satin bonnet, but if you do choose to use a satin bonnet, just make sure you keep a very close eye on your baby. You want to add maybe like a satin scarf or just a small satin squared sheet that you can put in their car seat, in their baby bouncer, or wherever they lie. For the same reasons, it's going to protect their hair and stop it from rubbing against any of the material and causing breakage and hair loss. So now you know why your baby's balding and or losing hair, and I've also given you my top 10 tips to help you minimize or avoid this. Like I said in the beginning, I have created a checklist for you just so that you won't forget all the important tips I've given you in this video. Now, if you want this checklist, so all you have to do is look in the description box below and you'll find a download link where you can download this checklist free. So that's it, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and share it with any of your mummy friends or anyone you feel may benefit from this video. So guys, I'm gonna love and leave you, and I will see you next week Tuesday. Take care. Bye.